We look forward to working with your school in the upcoming SLO cycle as a newly participating school. We have built this brief orientation video to help you understand what SLOs are, why they are here in Washoe County, and how the process will work in the coming cycle. Let's first address a couple of misconceptions some have heard about. Some believe an SLO must be written for each individual student. This is not the case. In the training year, you will write one SLO for a class you teach. Later, in the implementation years, 2 SLOs are written. You find a common need and focus based on data and what you know about your students, and plan instruction around that need for your students. You are not expected to write an individual plan for each student. Another inaccuracy is that SLOs must be done in isolation. This is not the case either. We promote efficiency through collaboration. SLOs are a good project for job-alike peers in PLCs. From planning, development, and even review, WCSD encourages collaboration.
I think the most important thing people should know about student learning objectives is the collaboration that goes with them. I think that really getting deep into the assessment piece and working with your colleagues on the instructional strategies, I think that's been fantastic for the staff at my school.
Some may have heard that the SLO process takes many hours to complete. This is not true either. We encourage efficiency through collaboration, and the average time you should spend on SLO development is 3 to 5 hours.
It's really nothing that you're not already doing. It's just taking what you do and putting it on paper.
Let's look at what SLOs really are.
It ties into everything that we're already doing, that teachers should be doing, looking at the standards, coming up with the objectives, coming up with the pre and post assessment, and again, using that data to drive their instruction based on how students grew or did not grow.
The SLO process is both a method for increasing student learning and advancing teacher practice. SLOs are also a measure of student learning and teacher practice. The SLO process occurs during 4 phases, which include preparation, when decisions are made and training occurs, development, when the SLO is developed, implementation, when the SLO content is taught to students, and results analysis, when outcomes are reflected upon to inform practice. The content of an SLO to measure learning and practice includes 6 key elements: student population, which is the group of students that you teach; learning content, which is the specific course standards to be focused upon; assessments, which are the baseline and culminating measures of student learning that are used; instructional strategies, which are the key approaches you take to accomplish the SLO; interval of instruction, which frames the timeline for the teaching of SLO content; and lastly, student growth targets, which are the numeric expectations for students to reach. A few key features are highlighted on the web page for WCSD SLOs. SLOs are teacher developed, data informed, collaboratively developed, and approved at the school level.
We're already doing it. And again, I think taking it and saying that, okay, this is my PGP, which I'm doing anyway. We're working on this together in PLCs. We're tying in Common Core state standards, and we're just focusing on some standards and objectives and assessing our students.
All we're doing is taking what we think in our head a lot and putting it on paper so that we have something to follow.
Let's talk briefly about why SLOs are being implemented. Nationwide, districts in all green states are implementing some form of SLO methodology in their educator evaluation systems. SLOs began in Denver in 1999, spread to Austin, Texas, and continued in Charlotte, North Carolina, then expanded to dozens of more states. Districts in most states use SLOs as the measure of student learning in teacher evaluation.
The fact that we can actually collect student achievement data and see actual growth with numbers on an individual classroom subject level area that we don't have already. We only have testing data in a couple of subjects, and this is personalized straight to their subject matter, to what they're doing in their classroom with their students. That's a really powerful tool for showing growth with their kids.
Our statement that SLOs improve achievement and practice is supported by research from the first 3 districts implementing SLOs in the country: Denver, Austin, and Charlotte. Information from these studies attest to the positives related to SLOs: improved teacher practice and collaboration, and student growth on state tests. Another reason WCSD brought student learning objectives to our school is in response to legislative action on educator evaluation. Both measures of student learning and teacher practice are needed to satisfy Nevada revised statutes indicating that student outcomes will be used for teacher evaluations in the future. Decisions about when and how have not been made yet, but SLOs are a means to address this requirement. With SLOs implemented, WCSD will be well positioned to respond to the requirements when decisions are finalized. SLOs measure and support teacher practice and student growth. Students of teachers with SLOs outperform peers in terms of academic growth. SLOs give teachers of non-tested subjects and grades classroom-level student achievement data.
This is a true evaluation more of my performance in the classroom than someone just sitting in my room for an hour and seeing a little tiny piece. This covers 6 weeks of instruction. I have to reflect on it. I have to show data. It's a much better indicator of what I'm doing in my classroom than that 1 hour observation a few times a year.
Student learning objectives connect to everyday teaching practice because it's what teachers are already doing for the most part in their classroom. It's just collecting data on what we're doing to show the wonderful things that we have going on.
One other thing, going back to what would I tell teachers or schools that are going to be going through the process, just please keep in mind that it's a focus on student growth and achievement. The bottom line is we're here for the kids, and this just allows us to hone in on, again, targeted kids that we want to see grow and achieve.
And on a final note, know that you will be supported throughout the process. A full 3-hour training to explore SLOs more deeply will be conducted in August. Follow-up training will happen during the months following the initial training. Development of SLOs will await full completion of training to ensure a most informed development process. Support from the District SLO Coordinator, SLO Specialist, and our grant partners in the SLO work, CTAC, is available throughout the process. Key district departments have received ongoing training to be able to support your unique needs as well. A host of resources are loaded on the Washoe SLO webpage.
I knew what I liked to do and how I was doing, but I sure found a different teaching approach through some of the younger colleagues I was working with. I think I was able to share some of my experience with them. It was just really nice to talk to other music teachers and find out how we were the same and how we had some differences and how those all work together.
Take your time, listen carefully, and then trust in the process.
It's a valuable process, but know that it pays off in the end.
I'm excited for SLOs just to see where we go with them and to see what we develop with teachers and how they grow and refine practices.
And lastly, remember, SLOs are good teaching practice. We look forward to seeing you this fall.